Arman Tsarukyan recently shared his thoughts on Ilia Topuria, expressing his belief that Topuria has not yet been truly tested in the UFC. In a recent interview, Tsarukyan explained that while Topuria has shown impressive performances, the level of competition he has faced so far does not reflect the kind of challenge that defines an elite fighter at the top of their game. According to Tsarukyan, many of Topuria's previous opponents were either past their prime, dealing with injuries, or not in the best condition when they faced him. Tsarukyan stated that in order for Ilia Topuria to prove himself as one of the best in the world, he needs to face fighters who are at their physical and mental peak, fighters who can bring both elite wrestling and striking into the octagon. He pointed out that someone like himself or Islam Makhachev would be the kind of challenge Topuria needs to truly test his skills and determine if he can compete with the very best in the sport. He also mentioned that while Topuria's win over Alexander Volkanovski was impressive, Volkanovski had already endured a lot in recent fights, including being knocked out and dealing with tough losses that may have affected his performance. Tsarukyan suggested that this version of Volkanovski was not at his absolute best when he fought Topuria. Similarly, he commented that Max Holloway, another big name in the division, seems to be at a stage in his career where he is more focused on taking exciting fights and big paydays rather than proving himself against younger contenders. Tsarukyan emphasized that he respects Topuria's skills and achievements, but he believes that facing top wrestlers and pressure fighters will reveal whether Topuria can handle adversity and maintain his dominance when put in truly uncomfortable situations. According to Tsarukyan, only after facing opponents like himself or Islam Makhachev will Topuria be able to show whether he deserves to be considered one of the best fighters of all time. He concluded by saying that while he understands that many fans see Topuria as the next big star, he believes there are still questions that need to be answered. Until Topuria faces opponents who can challenge him in every aspect of mixed martial arts, striking, wrestling, grappling, and endurance, his true potential will remain unproven. Alex Pereira has once again called out Jon Jones for a potential fight at the UFC White House event, reigniting one of the most talked about discussions in the MMA world. Recently, there has been plenty of news surrounding Jon Jones, especially following his retirement and the uncertainty around his return to competition. For those who may not be aware, Pereira initially challenged Jones to a fight at the UFC White House card right after his bout with Magomed Ankalaev. That call-out generated massive buzz within the MMA community, and since then, speculation has continued to grow about whether the two legends might actually face each other in the octagon. Reports suggest that both Pereira and Jones have verbally agreed to the idea of fighting each other, but the situation remains complicated. The main issue appears to stem from UFC President Dana White's frustration with how Jon Jones handled the Tom Aspinall situation. Dana reportedly feels that Jones' actions during that period were unprofessional and potentially damaging to the promotion's reputation. Because of that, White has expressed hesitation about giving Jones such a high-profile spot as the main event for a monumental card like the one being planned at the White House. According to Dana, the UFC needs fighters it can depend on, particularly for major historic events, and he doesn't want to risk having a main event fall apart at the last minute. Despite this obstacle, Alex Pereira remains determined to make the fight happen. He continues to express his interest publicly and has shown no sign of backing down. Recently, Pereira shared a video on social media that quickly went viral. In the video, he can be seen shadowboxing in front of the iconic Coliseum, showcasing his power, technique, and focus. After demonstrating his skills, interviewer Nina Drama asked him who he wanted to face next. Without hesitation, Pereira responded with confidence, saying, "Jon Jones, watch your house." His tone made it clear that he is serious about this matchup and believes it would be a monumental event for both the UFC and its fans. The potential clash between Pereira and Jones would undoubtedly be one of the biggest fights in UFC history, featuring two of the most dominant champions of their respective eras. Fans are now eagerly waiting to see whether Dana White can be convinced to approve this dream matchup and whether Jon Jones will finally accept Pereira's challenge for the UFC White House card. Dana White has finally addressed the recent UFC betting scandal, explaining the league's response and the role of its integrity partners. According to White, the UFC works with a firm called Integrity Compliance 360, IC3, that monitors betting activity on every fight. IC3 notified the promotion of unusual wagering surrounding the Isaac Bulgarian Yadier Diva bout prior to the contest, prompting the UFC to investigate immediately. White said the organization contacted the fighters and their representatives to ask straightforward questions, whether anyone was injured, indebted, or had been approached about fixing the fight, and received assurances that nothing improper had occurred. When the fight ended in a first-round rear naked choke, the UFC's first action was to call the FBI. White emphasized that he has met with FBI officials twice to discuss the matter. White pushed back on media reports suggesting hundreds of fights are under investigation, calling such headlines clickbait. He reiterated that the UFC receives detailed reports from IC3 after every event and that the monitoring process is long-standing and rigorous. White also issued a stern warning to anyone contemplating betting-related corruption. The UFC will cooperate fully with law enforcement and pursue violators aggressively. If you try to do this, we will be your worst enemy, he said, adding that the promotion will go after offenders, with the FBI and whoever else we need to get to ensure criminal consequences. Addressing fighters' claims that they have been offered money to throw fights, White said those athletes should have reported approaches to law enforcement immediately and that the FBI will be reaching out to those who now claim to have been contacted. He noted that numerous FBI agents recently visited UFC offices as part of the inquiry, underscoring the seriousness of the investigation. White compared unreported approaches to witnessing a planned bank robbery. If someone tells you about a scheme and you do nothing, you still have a responsibility to notify authorities. As more information emerges, White suggested the investigation could uncover additional details about suspicious activity in other bouts. For now, the UFC maintains it is taking proactive, transparent steps, relying on IC3's monitoring, communicating with fighters and their teams, and collaborating with federal authorities, to protect the integrity of the sport and punish any participants who attempt to manipulate outcomes. Alex Pereira recently recreated a hilarious and lighthearted moment involving UFC president Dana White and boxing legend Mike Tyson. The original video, which became a viral hit years ago, showed Tyson humorously kicking Dana White out of his seat on a private jet, playfully asserting dominance in a way only Iron Mike could. Pereira, known for his stoic demeanor and intimidating presence inside the octagon, decided to put his own spin on the famous clip, and the results quickly caught the attention of fans across social media. In Pereira's version, he is seen approaching Dana White in a relaxed yet confident manner, echoing Tyson's original tone. As Dana sits comfortably, Pereira points to the seat and says with a smirk, "I like this seat." When Dana hesitates, Pereira jokingly insists, "Come on, move it. I like this seat. I like it better." The playful exchange mirrors Tyson's iconic interaction almost perfectly, blending humor with Pereira's signature intensity. Dana, known for his good-natured reactions to fighter antics, goes along with the joke, making the short clip even more entertaining. The recreation quickly made its rounds online, with fans and fellow fighters reacting positively to Pereira's comedic timing and creativity. Many praised him for showing the lighter side of his personality, something not often seen from the usually stoic and focused Brazilian champion. The moment stood out because Pereira, typically known for his quiet confidence and devastating knockout power, managed to show that he also has a sense of humor and can engage with fans in a fun, relatable way. The clip also highlights the strong relationship between Dana White and his fighters, particularly those who have become major stars within the organization. Pereira's playful interaction with Dana demonstrated the mutual respect and camaraderie they share, a dynamic that fans rarely get to witness behind the scenes. By referencing one of the UFC's most famous viral moments, Pereira not only paid homage to Mike Tyson's legendary charisma but also created a new memorable moment that resonated with today's MMA audience. Overall, the video served as a reminder that even the fiercest fighters in the sport can enjoy a laugh outside of competition. Alex Pereira's recreation of Mike Tyson's classic plane scene with Dana White quickly became one of the most talked about clips in the MMA community, blending nostalgia, humor, and personality into a moment that fans won't soon forget. Paddy Pimblett has recently fired back at Islam Makhachev after comments the lightweight champion made about him in an interview. Pimblett, who has been in the spotlight for calling out Ilia Topuria for the upcoming Paramount card in January, has now turned his attention toward Makhachev. The back and forth began when Makhachev was interviewed by Brett Okamoto, where he dismissed the idea of Pimblett being in contention for a title shot. Makhachev stated that Arman Tsarukyan should be next in line, claiming that Tsarukyan deserves the opportunity after previously missing his chance to fight him. Makhachev added that fighters like Tsarukyan or Justin Gaethje made more sense as opponents, but definitely not Pimblett. He questioned Pimblett's record, asking who he had beaten, pointing out that Tony Ferguson and Michael Chandler have both lost to many fighters, and suggesting that Pimblett had not yet proven himself against top competition. Pimblett didn't take those comments lightly. In a recent UFC video, he responded passionately, saying that he hopes Jack Della Maddalena, known as JDM, punches Islam's head in. Pimblett expressed confidence in Maddalena's boxing skills and said that if JDM can keep the fight standing, he believes Makhachev will be badly beaten. According to Pimblett, JDM is a superior striker and has the potential to expose weaknesses in Makhachev's stand-up game. Pimblett then turned his attention directly to Makhachev, calling him out for what he saw as hypocrisy. He reminded everyone that Makhachev earned his first title shot after defeating Bobby Green, a fighter Pimblett claims to have beaten faster. Pimblett went on to call Makhachev a little bum, and challenged him to come back down to lightweight so that he could punch his head in. His comments made it clear that he felt disrespected by Makhachev's remarks and wanted to make a statement of his own. This fiery exchange adds another layer of intrigue to the ongoing rivalries in the lightweight division. While Makhachev remains focused on defending his title and facing top-ranked contenders, Pimblett continues to climb the ranks, building both his fanbase and his confidence with each win. Whether this verbal feud turns into an actual fight remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: Paddy Pimblett isn't afraid to speak his mind, and his words have once again stirred up attention across the MMA world.